Your eyes are definitely not deceiving you. Vengeance is getting yet another DLC, but this time around the theme is pirates. Starting off, we have a new Ogre Tower which is quite unique in itself, so let me explain it. It consists of 3 parts, including a big ogre unit, a couple of small goblins, and of course a ranged one. At tier 1 we get access to the ogre unit, whose sole purpose seems to be just stalling a single enemy, since he doesn't seem to have that high of a damage. Tier 2 the tower starts throwing out those goblins similar to the design of the demon pit from Kingdom Rush Alliance, which further improves the stalling capabilities of the tower. And finally at tier 3 we get access to the gunner, who is designed to complement the goblins since his sole purpose is to deal damage to the enemies. And at tier 4 we get access to the cannon ship, which actually deals area damage, which essentially makes the tower a triple purpose one. On first inspection, its only glaring weakness seems to be the lack of any sort of magic damage, so essentially armored enemies might be the main issue for this tower. The tower seems to be a jack of all trades since it can stall, deal high single target damage, also has area damage. We also don't have any clue what the tower abilities are for the time being, but they might also be busted. And according to some beta testers, it's said that the tower is supposedly S tier, so it's definitely powerful. It can also very easily form its own choke points due to the stalling capabilities and the fact that it basically acts as a demon pit, and we all know how useful that tower is. My first impressions of the tower is that it has quite a flexible kit, and I could very well see it being used in most tower loadouts, as it can fulfill a lot of different tasks. I'm really looking forward to trying it in practice to see actually how it performs, but from what I've seen I'm actually really satisfied. Okay, I think that this is enough rambling about the tower. Now let's have a look at the new hero, since I feel like it's way more interesting when compared to the tower. So we have yet another flying hero who is called Lucerna, and well, it's not a dragon this time around, so at least that's an improvement. For her basic attack, Lucerna fires a homing missile which either deals magical or true damage. The damage seems to be rather insignificant, but it's also tested on one of the more tankier enemies from the DLC, so at least we'll need some more footage to actually get a good grasp on how powerful it is. Next we have an ability really similar to that of Berasat, where Lucerna goes to the path and scares a group of enemies, sending them back the path. For how many seconds exactly though, I'm still not sure. What I do know is that it will definitely help out Lucerna bring in some more utility and support to the battlefield, and I can very easily see it being one of the more powerful attributes that Lucerna's kit provides. Next up we have one of the other Lucerna's abilities, in which she teleports a slight distance and then fires a barrage of cannonballs dealing area damage. Again, it doesn't seem to be that impactful, but then again we don't know how long the cooldown is exactly, so it may very well be one of her main ways of dealing constant area damage. For Lucerna's hero spell, she summons a lantern on the ground which fires ghosts at nearby enemies, dealing true damage, and also at quite a rapid rate, may I add. We are yet to find out how long her hero spell cooldown is or how long does it stay on the ground, but it's very powerful for the duration that it's active. I could see it being used as a last line of defense, since it acts very similarly to the hero spell that Dianion has. Overall, it feels like a really fun hero spell to use, and I cannot really wait to try it out for myself. Post-editing Alex here, well, the hero spell basically seems to act very similarly to that of Spectre's Mausoleum Possession ability, since you can very easily notice how it targets a certain enemy and then it immediately starts to attack another one, so yeah, that's my bet. Now let's have a quick word about the enemies, since they're actually quite a lot even when compared to the Hammerhole DLC. First off, we have a throwback to the Pirate Watchtower and the Sea Dogs from Frontiers, which both act really similarly to their predecessors. Next up we have these Molotov monkeys, which will definitely set their enemies on fire. We are continuing the monkey family with the introduction of macaques and also bringing in an old friend from Frontiers, the Gorillions. Next we have a whole crew of sharks, introducing hammer sharks, megalodon, red sharks, small sharks, diving sharks, so let's take a look at them. Starting off, we have the yellow sharks, which actually resemble some sort of a goldfish, which I find to be funny, and they're basically the weakest of the bunch. Next, we have the red sharks, which might actually resemble tiger sharks from real life, and well, they're slightly more powerful than their predecessors, but they're still relatively easy to take down. Next up we have the hammerhead sharks, which are actually the spellcasters of this campaign, and well, they basically act as a support enemy and they can heal the other enemies around them, and they also seem to have ranged attacks, so I guess engaging them in combat might be the best approach in order to deal with them. Next up we have the sand sharks, which can basically burrow beneath the sand, and during that time they are basically invulnerable to any sort of damage, so blocking them is basically the best way to deal with them. And to finish the shark crew, we have the Megalodon, which basically acts as the mini boss of this stage, and well, the best way to approach it might be to invest in Blazing Gem, since it may as well be immune to a lot of different abilities including insta-kills. And to finish off the enemy section, we have the Flying Dutchman pirate crew, which includes Curse Pirates, Misted Admirals, Bolt Rollers, and of course Skeleton Bats. Starting up, we have the Cursed Pirates, which are basically phantoms, so they may very well be immune to any sort of physical damage, so I guess relying on magic towers might be the best option. Misted Admirals have the ability to summon purple clouds, which can basically buff the other phantoms around him, and he is easily the enemy that will be the most troublesome while you're playing through that stage. And although we don't really have any gameplay showcased for the Bolt Riders quite yet, I would assume that they act very similarly to that of the Magic Carpets from the Hammerhold DLC, in that, well, they are basically just a flank enemy which occasionally throws in some sort of an attack towards your allied units. And the final enemy that we will be taking a look in this video are the flank skeleton bats, which basically, well, they don't seem to have any sort of ability, so they're just your regular old fire enemy. And the final thing that is left for me to discuss about the DLC is actually the 5 new bosses, which is something that Ironhide has never really pulled off before, so in order to do that I would like to firstly showcase the map, since I feel like that it will be slightly easier for you to understand how they would work. Alright, so here is the map of the new DLC. As you can see, there are 5 islands resembling each stage of the new DLC. So firstly we're starting off with the island on the most right side, where we actually can see Vesnan's Landing. Alright, so here is a preview of the first stage from the DLC. In this stage our first boss battle will be against the Black Corsair, which was last seen in the Deep Devils campaign from Frontiers in the stage Storm Atoll. In this stage the enemies that we will encounter are Buccaneers, Corsairs, regular pirates as well as Sea Dogs. And also here's a cool James Hook easter egg. Alright, so back to the map. After we defeat the Black Corsair, we'll be sailing to the Macaque Island, where we'll be facing our next boss, so let's take a look at the stage. Alright, so here's a preview of the second stage, and well, we are basically on the Monkey Island, and our second boss will be Macaque, which basically, as you can tell, is a macaque, so our main enemies that we'll be encountering are mainly made from monkeys and parrots, and all sorts of different combinations between the two, which I tried to summarize in this funny little matte image, so feel free to pause it and look at the enemies for yourself. So after we settled our business with the monkeys, we'll be taking a trip to the Shark Island, where we'll be encountering our next boss, who is called the Deep King. Here's a preview of the third stage. As you can notice, we'll be facing only sharks in this level, and we can see the boss in the center of the map, so let's take a closer look into him. It seems that he will be periodically showing up in the level, causing some sort of havoc each time he arrives. And here we can see him in his true boss form. Definitely looks menacing, to say the least. So after we've dealt with the sharks, we'll be heading north, where we'll be facing the next boss called Spectro, who is basically a cursed pirate. So here's a preview of the fourth stage from the DLC, where we'll be mainly encountering the Misted Pirates enemies, and also you can see the boss on your screen. And here's a quick showcase of the Spectro boss, who is easily my favorite out of the bunch. Also, is it just me or does it really resemble a Flying Dutchman? And after we've dealt with the Misted crew, we'll be heading to our final destination, which is Treasure Island, where we'll be encountering the Black Corsair from Frontiers. Alright, so here's a preview of the final stage from the DLC. We can notice that there is a huge variety of enemies, so everyone has gathered at one final battle. We can also notice that the Black Corsair is charging up some sort of special attack, so I'm really curious to see what he has in store for us. And with all that out of the way, that concludes my analysis for the new Pirate Kings DLC for Vengeance, so I'm really curious to see what are your guys' opinion. At least for me, it seems that every single stage resembles a really thematic scene to it, so that really makes me happy. The new tower also seems to be fun. I mean, it's definitely complex and I would really like to see how I would implement it in my strategies. The bosses seems to be unique, also the new hero is spectacular. I mean, it's yet another fine hero, but at least this time it's not a dragon, so yeah, I'm really excited about this upcoming DLC, and also make sure to subscribe as I will be going in further detail regarding all the enemies and bosses and so on, since I tried to rush this video to get it as soon as possible. And also I will be discussing it on a live stream with a beta tester who has played for more than a month and see how it pairs against the other campaigns in Vengeance. So yeah, really exciting times for all of us. We also have the Alliance update coming real soon. So yeah, make sure to subscribe and I hope to catch you again soon. For now, peace out.